Cool.
Okay, let's take 2 minutes and then
2
chat.
minutes. 2 minutes then.
All right, should we chat?
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Duarte?
So I think there's 3 potentially mutually exclusive paths to victory for us. The first one is proving that universal jurisdiction actually is comparatively worse, or at least allows free riding for some countries in terms of it being light on environmental crimes. Second one is kind of mutually exclusive, that it excessively punishes developing countries that are seeking to catch up.
Yeah.
And the third one is kind of similar to the first, but I think there is distinction there, which is universal jurisdiction is just too slow. Like, it's not even that it necessarily has bad precepts, but rather that it's incredibly difficult to pull off.
Yeah. It's efficiency. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking of how we make it. I think there's a way in which we can make it not mutually exclusive.
Oh, I mean, I think the way to make it not mutually exclusive is just countries that are like politically powerful are able to guard themselves, developing countries are not, right? Like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the issue with this is that it really depends on the way in which they are making it.
Yeah.
Because I think that either you make it in a way that's going to make it very punitive, or you have to make it in a way that everyone opts in which it's going to be really lenient.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, like, I think that the best way in which we can try to claim it is that the free riders are the countries that are powerful. The countries that this is imposed to are the developing ones, so they're losing on economic development, and overall it's also really inefficient.
Yeah.
The issue is, like, I don't know how much they can fiat in and how much they can't.
Yeah. I think we want to go with whatever OO says on that. Because I think OO will have significantly more power to like fiat challenge.
Yeah.
There is sort of an extraneous path to victory that I have that I'm not sure if it's good, which is basically this is significantly more uncertain and unfamiliar to companies. And as a result of that, it creates a chilling effect.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay, I'm thinking, right? So because, like, I'm not sure to what extent it's completely extraneous, because I was thinking of this one to add it to the economic development of the developing countries, right? I think it's like kind of part of it already. Do you think it extends like universally?
So I think it doesn't extend universally so much as it extends impact universally. So I do think the mechanism primarily applies in some locations, because I do think we will have to almost certainly bite that some countries can protect themselves and their companies from this quite well. But I think it just it slows down economic development, and that also has impacts across the globe.
Yeah. I actually think like this might apply everywhere, or at least partially, right? Because like the level of planning that you can do everywhere, including like the powerful countries, is probably I think that's actually smart. I think that's good.
Should we talk about Gov?
Yeah, I think we can. The other thing I would just add to this is that probably like we will require to do some kind of weighing on at worst case on why like current benefits, economic benefits, are over the future generations. But like we know the stock, right?
Yeah.
On that one, so like we can do that weighing. Okay. Gov then.
Okay, Gov. 1, countries individually are very, very bad at punishing this. This is likely to be somewhat better, in particular at addressing the fact that this is delocalized between action and effect oftentimes. Yeah, like I think that's sort of the core Gov. There's a dumb principled Gov. Sorry, maybe it's not dumb, but I think it could be dumb. About like, this affects all the people. And as a result, we should have as global a jurisdiction over it as possible.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's actually, like, I think that's a good impacting, potentially, of the first case, but it's completely analytically contingent on the first case,
like I said, it's contingent on it working.
Right,
yeah. Thing is, I think we can do some kind of preemption about why countries are individually actually quite decent at it. Slash where they are not disinterested, then it's presumably because there's like a quite significant trade-off. Like I think that the smart gov is probably like the claim that companies are coercive in this, and then there's lots of countries who would want to have universal jurisdiction, but I can't have it.
Yeah.
So it's not like the countries themselves, but yeah, because I think we can claim. So I think that's a stronger mech that we want to deal with.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's broadly 3 areas of dealing with it that I can conceive of initially. Firstly, companies don't actually have this coercive power in most instances, insofar as most mechanisms by which they actually express pressure on governments are very costly to them as well. Like just basically mitigating the degree to which it exists in most places. Secondly, the coercive powers that company have. In this instance, if we land our slowing down economic development case, aren't actually comparatively for the worse, because companies usually do this in situations where they actually couldn't operate under like particular legislation. Meaning that ultimately the countries are still held hostage, they're just now poorer. And the third area of dealing with it is just companies also very likely can apply significant pressure against this body, because it's incredibly unlikely to be meaningfully accountable. Obviously, again, somewhat mutually exclusive between them.
I mean, I'm just annoyed about the fact that it's so unclear how they're gonna make it. Because like I think there's also like additional claims about like I definitely think that's like probably something that you can claim about like countries not being happy about this imposition, and it just like worsens cooperation and other things, blah 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 blah. Okay, anything else? Is there any other good gov besides this?
I mean, I think that like lots of this debate is actually in characterization of what this does. Because I think I think it basically works similar to ICC, right? In the sense that it's not so much about this universal jurisdiction will now prosecute every single polluting company. But rather that it means that there is now pressure on governments to legislate, right?
The thing is, like they can't claim that this is going to be prosecuting, right? Like that's going to be prosecuting evenly. They can claim that there will be a jurisdiction. They can explain what it's going to be done like. But I think that lots of the mechs that you would do on ICC about like why you're going to be likely be prosecuting like the easy things to prosecute, right? So like it's much more likely you're going to be targeting the countries that are much easier to prosecute. And then like we can literally just use what we would say about the ICC and like the perceptual issues, blah blah blah. I think.
Okay, so I'm currently struggling a little bit on depth, because the basic idea of this mechanism is applied unevenly, and as a result of it, it doesn't catch the vast majority of like crimes against the environment, but the countries it does catch are really, really hurt. Just seems very OO.
It seems like very much a thing that OO can do. Right, okay, I'm thinking where that goes.
I mean, obviously we can go vertical on it, but I would
like we can go vertical on it. We can think of how we mechanizing the screwing over smaller states. Because like the chilling effect thing is presumably a thing that we can add to it. That's like probably a way to weigh it on, that is irrespective of prosecutions, right?
I mean, presumably it also just okay, here's I think a way in which we can mechanize the chilling effect out. It's the following. It just means companies that perceive themselves at risk of either legislation or prosecution do not invest in developing countries that cannot defend against this mechanism. Because like you take away the one comparative advantage they have of being lower cost of business by raising the potential cost of business exponentially.
It's also independent of solvency, right? Like it's actually like the other stuff is dependent on the fact that countries actually get prosecuted. It is independent of them actually getting prosecuted in the first place. I also don't like, it's not necessarily just about them investing completely, right? Because like presumably companies still want to invest, and like it's unclear how much this is I mean, we can claim that it's a massive deterrent, right? But like even to the extent that it isn't, like the level of planning that you can do, like long-term planning that you can do because of this is limited, because you don't know and you can't negotiate with anyone what the exact conditions will be. So even if they invest, right, like the specific stuff that they can plan is limited.
I think like the long-term planning actually hurts one of the sectors that is most important for making companies long-term more economically non-damaging, which is technological development, which is incredibly resource intensive. And oftentimes in a competitive environment, the company that is able to get away with polluting most is the one that has the fastest time of getting to results.
Yeah. The other thing I think is possibly like, and where extension is possible is the weighing, right? Like I'm not sure how well they can do all of that.
Yeah.
Plus the weighing.
What would be the weighing?
The weighing on the economy versus future generations, right? So like certainty is the first one, right? Because like, we can always just make the assertion that the level of certainty we have about actually solving climate blah blah blah. We have well, do you know the Manchester stock that we have about like the moral
the non-identity problem?
I mean, we can say that. I don't know. I think it's like wacky, but like we can, I guess. At worst, we can do non-identity problem. We can do like the moral, like that like we need to know the morals of the future people, and we don't know the morals of them. And blah blah.
I do think that there's actually one last thing that works as weighing here, which is basically the train to like environmental degradation is going. We can't stop it. So we can do something about the economic development. We actually can't really do very much about this.
Oh, that's what I meant by certainty as well. I think that's like, by the way, yeah.
Oh yeah. It is obviously a subset of certainty.
Subset of certainty, yeah. Gotcha. Okay, is there anything else?
I don't know.
Okay, do you know which Discord? Do you have the Discord channel that we can use? I forgot which was ours.
I can write in our channel if you want.
Wait, which was ours? I forgot because I have like, oh yeah, good. Okay, cool. Let's do that one. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're about to
1 minute.
End. Yeah.
Okay, we can comment and figure out.
Let's listen to OG and see what they do.
Like I think that he has to bash for so long. Like it depends how well, you know.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
All right.
If it's shallow, it's shallow.
Godspeed, my friend. Let's go.
Okay.